I'd now like to give you a brief summary of the review that Justin and I have undertaken and an overview of our recommendations. What we were looking at were the statistics produced by MRPAM, and more specifically by the Monitoring, Evaluation and Statistics Division. And as you're aware, the what I will call the M&D division produces a lot of data, most of which comes from administrative sources. And what the M&D division does is to access the data and disseminate it on the website. Our terms of reference talked about providing advice on providing a comprehensive body of data. And although the information that is currently collected and disseminated is certainly quite wide-ranging and specific and important, it does, in our view, fall somewhat short of providing the comprehensive database that we were asked to advise on. I would add just the last point here, the strategic plan of MRPAM makes several references to developing a comprehensive sector-specific database. We did, however, identify what we would call some data gaps. And the types of data that we felt were not either missing or not given sufficient prominence were some internationally recognized series. Data that relate to the mining and petroleum sector, but also, among other things, to social and environmental indicators. I should add that we are looking at this as people who have spent a lot of time with a statistics organization which is particularly concerned with economic statistics. So our focus has tended to be from the standpoint of how useful are the data for economic analysis as well as other purposes. And our initial reaction was that a lot of emphasis is given currently to data on mineral licenses. And while that may be an important set of data, there is certainly more emphasis on that than on standard economic aggregates. I'll comment in a minute on what we mean by standard economic aggregates. Now, the reports are published each month and give emphasis to monthly statistics. But as we have already discussed in answer to the earlier question, not all statistics are available monthly. Some important data are available only quarterly or semi-annually or annually. So even though those types of data are not available monthly, we feel they should be published for the period that they are available for. So we feel that increased emphasis should be given to what we call key statistics. And when we talk about key statistics, we're thinking of statistics that should be presented in relation to significant issues for government and businesses. Specifically, we feel that greater emphasis could be given to data series such as GDP, employment, capital investment, and maybe less emphasis on mineral licenses. And as I just mentioned, the data should also include annual and quarterly series. Another consideration which is certainly given high priority in Canada is to highlight emerging trends and issues. And that involves an additional step of providing analysis of the data that's produced. Now, what are these significant issue areas? The first item we describe as growing the economy, particularly data on GDP production for the mineral sector. Leading indicators are also very important, both for government and investors. And by leading indicators, we mean what's going to happen over the next 6 months, a year. And for the mineral sector, therefore, capital expenditures and leases are both examples of leading indicators. Impacts in international markets. And, of course, many of these data are already being produced by the M&D division. So exports, for example, imports of petroleum products, and another variable which was mentioned in a recent report by the Asian Development Bank on the Mongolian economy was foreign direct investment in the mineral sector. And we didn't, in our review, find any information on that. Now, the issue of creating jobs and what the incomes are from these jobs is also very important. And we feel there should be information concerning employment, wages, and salaries. Now, we understand that this information should be available, possibly not within MRPAM, and specifically that information is available from the NSO, but I was not able to find it on the NSO website through their database. We are told, however, that information is available and is collected and could be made available upon request. The next key statistic is profitability and productivity. Again, we didn't find information on business profits. Whether that information may be available, again from the NSO or from other sources. I put productivity in as an important indicator, and certainly it's important for analysts, and there are one or two indicators of productivity. Mineral surveys and exploration. There is, in fact, quite a variety of data available on geology statistics from MRPAM. The next category is market conditions, for which global commodity prices are included in the MRPAM statistics. And most of that information on commodity prices appears to be taken from various websites, metals websites, etc. Finally, the impact on the environment. This is a very difficult sector. There is information on rehabilitation work undertaken, but we recognize, although we don't have very specific recommendations, that additional information is required. One of the suggestions we have is for MRPAM to consider a new survey, possibly in combination with the National Statistics Office, on pollution abatement and control expenditures. We have a 3-year action plan that we are proposing. So we have a series of recommendations of specific steps that could be taken over a 3-year period. We have indicated what we feel a reasonable timing would be for each step. So there are things that can be done over the first 6 months, other steps that can be implemented over the subsequent 6 months, and other steps again that require perhaps a longer time horizon, the next 2 to 3 years. The first category that we looked at was what we call operational improvements. And these recommendations would aim to tighten survey and dissemination procedures in line with international best practices. A second major category is data development, data systems, and analysis. And this would involve developing a comprehensive database which includes, taking words from your strategic plan, state-of-the-art and internationally accepted IT systems. And let me just add that developing that comprehensive database would, as a first step, involve identifying what key statistics you would want to include in that database. The next category is networking and support. And one aspect of that Justin has described in relation to the mineral exploration statistics in Canada is the data user consultation. And Justin mentioned also the importance of stability, not changing the data content the whole time, but just once a year. Another objective of networking and support would be to develop expertise on mineral and petroleum data. Now, I should emphasize that the importance of the data user consultation is for you to get information from your users about what is important. We have given you our suggestions about what key statistics you should have. But we're just a couple of guys from Canada, you know. The real experts are the people who use your data. The next point I wanted to mention is data quality, integrity, and timeliness. And here, Justin again described the steps we go through in Canada to ensure that data are correct, reasonable, by comparison with other data sets. And as well, the whole issue of knowing what information should be produced and how to produce it through consultation with data providers. Timeliness is also, of course, an important characteristic, and the question is whether you need to include as well some of these less frequent statistics. Finally, we make a number of recommendations regarding training, and training is crucial to both to build capacity and to ensure sustainability. I just want to say a word about the importance of leadership and management. We are making recommendations about expanding the database, the sorts of key statistics you should have. We are also making recommendations concerning the development of frankly, an online database. These are complex, time-consuming, difficult steps that need to be undertaken. And in our view, they are going to require active and involved engagement from management at a number of levels. But to be frank, we think as well this is going to affect your resource requirements. Indeed, if we are to meet the objectives that were set out in our terms of reference, this is a big job.